What's up, gang? Carlton Flowers here, your crypto pro. Yay! And we need to talk about this Bitcoin action that is happening right now. Since my last update, we were talking about the slip zone right over here. And I was saying that if we did not hold in the support resistance zone, we would fall into this little slip zone on the side of the VPVR here, where we see not a lot of trading volume. And we talked about the possibility of dropping down to this lower support and resistance zone that we have not touched upon for quite some time. So let's just take a look at the 4-hour chart and look at the 1-day chart and see what we've got. Let's get rid of my handsome face there. And so here we are on the 4-hour. And let's scrunch some more into the visible range on the VPVR so we can see what's going on. Now, with this extra bit of price action history brought in, we can see this lower volume node at 39 that is below this support and resistance zone. So I'm kind of thinking if we don't bounce up before this, we could blow straight through this support resistance zone. There's a lot of people talking about 40,000 being the bottom, and that could match up right here with this volume node that is just beneath 40,000. So it could represent a bounce point for Bitcoin. Now we know that the China FUD, the story that's going on, if you don't know about that, just look it up and you can read all about that situation. I'm just going to focus on the chart. That's possibly something that is causing this, or maybe it's just something that was a manipulation that was planned out as a part of, say, a concerted effort to bring the market down and profit from it, because I'm convinced that a lot of these movements are planned out and not really natural. Okay, so at any rate, I think that we could jump up a little bit here. We've got a crossover on the stochastic here on the 4-hour chart, but look at the MACD. It's still looking very, very bearish. We have an absolute divergence between the fast line and the slow line on the MACD oscillators, and we are seriously printing some red bars here in the histogram right here. This is dipping down pretty low, so it looks like this momentum overall is headed down south. Now, if we jump to the 1-day chart, we can get a little bit better of a picture of what's going on, and we'll just notice right away, I had mentioned this before, that the 1-day stochastic was looking ugly. We have a definite crossover, and here's what gives me a clue as to the fact that this could override any chance of that stochastic on the 4-hour being the bottom point with that crossover. It is because of this divergence between the fast line and the slow line. The blue is the %K. This orangey red one is the %D. When those widen apart from each other, it's usually an indication of strong momentum in whatever direction that it is going. Additionally, we have that same divergence right there. Look at the oscillators here on the MACD coming apart. They had touched. There was a looking like it could have been a crossover here, but they jumped back apart from each other, and we have a clear downward momentum in this area with the lagging MACD oscillators. And now we're printing bars in the red again on the histogram. So it just doesn't look like we had enough strength here to muster up positive movement as we dipped down, came back up with one little green bar, and down we went again. We may be printing more red candles. So upstairs on the VPVR, we don't see much volume in this little slip zone here, but then it starts to increase quite significantly once we get down here around, there's the 40,000. But look at all this volume here at the point of control at the 33,000 mark. If we continue the downward momentum, if we get another fat red candle, there's a chance we could slip down here. But this tremendous amount of volume, this popular trading volume area that goes from 40,000 down to 33, could mean that we could bounce down or bounce back up from within this area. Now, let's just kind of move this up a little bit and move it over so we can see these former support and resistance zones. And let's clear out this artwork here. There we go. And what I'm thinking right now about the probabilities of where we could go. And that's all I do. I think in terms of probabilities. The highest probability now is probably heading back down to this support resistance zone, because we notice that the 200 EMA is right there. That's the blue one. Okay, we're definitely below the 50. We got good momentum going below the 50, and we're approaching the 200. So the one good thing that could possibly support a bounce here at this 200 EMA is the fact that it coincides with this previous support resistance zone that is somewhere around the 43,000 area. And we had a lot of talk about that previously from a lot of the prognosticators that are on YouTube. We know before we had resistance on this zone here, and then we blew above it, we broke it, and then we came back down, and it was resistance again here. It was resistance here, and so there could be a chance that it could find support here. Sometimes they flip, especially after we touch upon it several times. So since it was resistance twice and we broke through it, it might still be support. But we'll just have to see. With this acceleration of this stochastic, I don't know. And with this acceleration here and the movement of the MACD oscillators, that's going against the possibility that it could be support. And also this wick that almost touched down on the 200 and then bounced back up, that could have been what I would consider a bounce of support, where the next time, if it revisits that line, it could fall through. So that's what I'm looking at right now. We'll just have to see how the news plays out, how seriously people take this, and then we must consider the one thing that could happen, which would be the action on the stock market and what's going on with real estate. If we get a real estate bubble, if we get some negative action with the banks, because there has been talk that in October, the banks could get themselves into a fix, in a serious pinch. And what it is, it's the reserve requirement that banks have, where every day they have to close the books and meet those reserve requirements. And if they are beneath their reserves, they borrow from each other. But when all the banks are experiencing the same problem, they don't like lending money to each other. And if those 24-hour reserve requirements are not met, and the banks aren't loaning each other money, then the feds have to step in and start lending money to bail out the banks, so we don't have a banking collapse. This has happened several times in the past, and I don't expect that we're going to see any kind of banking collapse. I would expect that the feds are going to jump in and pour money into the banks. So if that happens, it could affect the stock market and it could affect the crypto market. If those things work together and the stock market takes a dive, it's going to spill over, and it could give us the negative push that would be required to get us all the way down to 33. So what am I going to do? I will continue on with my plan. And I've told you all in the last several videos that my plan is to DCA. And my DCA point started at 43. So I'm doing the dollar cost average method all the way down. And as long as we stay in this area, I'm buying my favorite alts. And I will continue to do that until we reach a bottom. So right now, I don't think it's any time to panic. I don't really want to sit around and worry about, are we going to hit 10K or 14K? Let's just watch what we have in front of us and take advantage of the situation as it presents itself. None of this is financial advice. I'm just a guy who's trying to get a leg up. I'm trying to make some money because the kids need shoes, okay? I'm trying to get a come up here. I'm not trying to tell you that what I'm saying is going to come to fruition. Again, it's all about probabilities and just looking at the evidence that we have that presents itself before us. What are your thoughts? Post in the comments, like and subscribe, and please tell a friend. Pass the word, pass this video on, and I will continue to give you updates as long as you find this information valuable. That's all I've got. This is Carlton. We'll see you next time.